Hello and welcome back to today's episode of Wixo. In the last episode, we saw the Mesopotamian Civil War with the two children, the two twins of the current monarch. Then there was the revolution in the blue team, the formation of China and India, the red team colonizing up here, and the blue team colonizing up here. And the purple team, lime team, and these guys discovering more land. Same with these guys. Cyprus doing nothing for an entire episode. And finally, and most importantly, not where we're going to be starting off this episode, is the 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 colonial revolution away from the Arabia, from the Arabian colony. And immediately in the last episode, I said the red team and the cream team are close allies, and they proved this with the formation of the Star Military Alliance. The Star Military Alliance is going to be between them and the red team. And any countries are welcome to join except the blue team. And the blue team is quite annoyed with this. So the blue team is going to do something. They pledge their allegiance to a country bigger than them. They join an alliance with these guys. And they are now a member of the Square Alliance against. And the whole point of the Square Alliance is to combat these stars, and these stars make a move. Recruiting this country that has basically done nothing entire series. Yeah, it's going pretty well. And uh, and now we're going to be getting off the religious, not off the religious, the alliance there, which brings me to the next plot point: the new religion there. There's the Mesopotamian faith, the Cypriot faith, the Arabian faith. There's also the red team faith, the pink Indian faith, and finally, and most importantly, the blue Chinese faith. Yeah, these faiths are going to probably spread within the next episodes. So I hope you're excited for the next episodes. They're going to be good ones. So, first thing that happens, well, the second thing that happens in this episode, besides the rising of tensions in Arabia and no one being able to attack each other down here, is going to be these is going to be happening over here in India, because India has done basically nothing in this entire series. They just came out last episode and now they're exploring more of this land. And yeah, the raising of tensions down there is not a good thing because these tensions are really bad. I mean, the blue team and green team hate each other almost as much as the red team and blue team, and it's bad. Though the red team and blue team barely tolerate each other, even though they're in the same alliance, they try to get along. They can't get along as well as they should, but because of their common views and everything, they just don't get along that well, even though they have the same views and culture. Even though they're just like the same peoples, just under this, but it doesn't work. And the Indians are doing a little better than them because the Indians are exploring a lot of land. I'm going to cut the video now. See you when I'm done. Now, this is the land they expand their exploration into. That's not that bad. For episode 3? Yeah, it's episode 3. Gee, it's episode 3 already? I gotta improve this pacing because the map looks a lot like an episode 1 map, if anything. I gotta improve this pacing. So, anyway, China. What are they doing? Since the last episode, they've expanded a lot around all the way to around here is where they expand their explored territory to, and they even expand it down into Korea. In a second, they'll be doing that. They explore most of North Korea. Anyway, I probably have a little while I'm outlining this. They're going to expand their known territories to. Yeah, anyway, I've really been enjoying making this series. I'm re-recording this episode the same day as I pre-recorded episodes 1 and 2. Because I'm just excited enough to record episodes that I will record a bunch of times in the same day. Honestly, I might do a few more recordings because I've had a lot of fun with all these recordings I've done today. These recordings are really fun. Honestly, the most recent episodes have been fun to record. Anyway, a new nation is going to be forming in China. Right around here. So this is the first new nation over here in the Asian area. And oh no, I don't want that. I'm gonna make my next. Ooh, I like this dark color. But I already have like a country that color. So instead, I'm going to do a country this color for Korea. Yeah, so around the world here, expansion has been going a lot because as you can see expansion just keeps on happening. Now, for a region that we said we'd follow up in this episode, in the last episode, the region, of course, being the honestly, I'm going to give them a when they're doing this, I'm going to give them a darker color to invade with. They're going to be invade really the first time I've had a country invade with a darker color. So yeah, immediately these guys start invading around and they start winning around the front lines and the live team is having a lot of their military stationed in Qatar ready to go out here. And they make the voyage. And when they make the voyage, they make it the longest voyage in history to show their might, smashing the record of these guys. No, also these guys, the live team decides to fight back. They're not just some pushover nation, they're the live team. And quickly the live team eradicates this pocket, and that's pretty unfortunate for them, as immediately this war is getting harder to fight, though these guys decide to go around this border. And they start to link up the groups again. And the live team forces are starting to get demotivated as these guys are having successes as the people's nationalism is too much over here inside of this country. The people are too nationalistic for them to handle. The nationalism of the people is way too big. They are just not able to handle this too well. And these guys also aren't able to handle it well, so these guys just lose this. And ultimately, in the treaty, I'm going to get out the provinces. I'm going to do the big guns, the provinces. Yep, only the best for these rebels. Okay, great. In this peace treaty, they're going to be the rebels are going to be taking out like around anyway on this side. Just get rid of the provinces. This is what these guys' borders look like. Oh. Now these guys get their independence from the Lime Team Empire. And the Lime Team Empire doesn't find this as a good thing. The Lime Team Empire finds this and something they need to retaliate against later. Meanwhile, the exploration continues as these guys have the goal of exploring the entire Middle East. That's their goal. Well, their goal is just to explore this whole like Middle East, this region, whatever they call this region that they're in, whatever they call it, they're aiming to explore it. And soon enough, they link up with these guys, and they're like, "Who are you?" And they're like, "We're Mesopotamia." And they're like, "Oh, Mesopotamia! We just linked up our colonies with your mainland." And they were like, "Really? Cool." Yeah, so they're just basically reacting like, "Oh, we just linked up our colony, your colonies to our mainland. Cool, man. Cool, 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 cool." And now, exploration continues just going this direction now. They explore over here, going pretty far. Over immediately, I like how these guys look now, but before when they were over here, they'd look like an egg, kind of. There's more, just made them look like they were an egg, just like a yolk in an egg, you know what I'm talking about? The egg yolk. And immediately, these guys are real. No, not that much expansion. Though they expand around to here. And their expansion has been going really good as of late. These guys' exploration is going to result in colonization, with the red team making a claim over here. So they hold a conference to divide up this land, with the red team putting in their claim first. The Mesopotamians put in a pretty huge second claim. Basically, this is like scramble for Africa, like how the claims do. Now, the third claim comes from a non-colonial nation. Comes from like these guys. Weird country to be given a third claim to. Though the fourth claim is going to go over to the blue team. Again, they don't claim much territory. They only just claim this to go deeper, and the lime team doesn't claim much of it either. They only claim up to around like here. And now let's color in their claims. The lime team colors in their claims. The Mesopotamians get a huge amount of claim. Granted, their claims are huge. Honestly, I feel like the Mesopotamians could have like a huge empire in the future. No, then again, I gotta learn like how to spawn an empire in my own series. I could just make a red empire if I wanted. I could make the pink team the world's largest country. Though that wouldn't be much fun because the pink team is small and stinks right now because they're just so tiny because they didn't claim so much land when they first started as a nation. But honestly, now a new country forms, being known as Hot Pink Persia. Pink Persia, I like Pink Persia. It just rolls off the tongue. Pink Persia, Pink Persia. Is it too similar to the red color? Yeah. Let me test. Nope, it's not too similar to the red team. Great, so the hot pink versions are here on the map. And now I'm actually starting to like how this map looks. I'm honestly liking all these countries. I watch other people's Wixos and be like, oh, those are ugly borders. And I look at my Wixo, I'm like, are these ugly borders? Do I hate them? I'm like, I don't hate these, but they could use a little work. Yeah, I could probably work on my borders, but honestly, I haven't watched many Wixos, but I specifically am going to shout out two Wixos I watch. Go check out Adis Perez Wixo and Augusto Mappings Wixo. They both have really good series. The Wixo series they have are good. Go watch them. If you don't, that's okay. Stay here, watch me. I don't care. But something huge happens now. While I was talking, these guys met up. Yikes. Now that they've met up, these guys are going to quickly expand on this and they're like, who are you? And they're like, who are you? They're like, we asked you first, who are you? And they're like, we asked you second, who are you? That's not how it works. That isn't how it works. I just realized that. Yeah, so they don't know each other's languages. It takes a while for them to translate it, but eventually they are able to translate the languages well enough to where they're able to have conversations, able to speak with the leaders of each country, where the pink team is able to speak to them, and they're able to understand what. Oh, that's what that word means. Oh, that's what that word means. The pink team and the red team hold a conference to divide just between themselves, just to divide up the rest of the territory. The pink team is allowed to make the first claim over it, so the pink team claims all of this territory, and the red team doesn't take that big a claim. They only take around like this much. Not too big. Now these countries are going to keep exploring, expanding the explored area, and quickly this expansion of explored territory is going well until they reach mountains upon mountains over here in India. And they work just on these guys' expansions instead because the Indians can't expand. They can't expand for India, but the rest of them can still expand. So the rest of the empires still work on expanding the territory. They all know the Mesopotamians have a completely separate effort because they realize that all these other countries are going off to explore different territory than they are going to expand into because these guys are. Though they found a huge body of water and they say, guys, I think we just found an ocean. And they're like, you did? And everyone's like, show me this. And they take in a couple explorers there. They can verify a huge body of water. And they're like, and a couple of people are like, We don't think you discovered an ocean, buddy. They are hoping that they didn't find an ocean because they might just hate them. Okay, I know what country. I think you all know by now what country I'm thinking of talking about, describing when they say that statement. It's the orange team, the Mesopotamians. Yeah, the white territory is going to be expanding, which is a good thing, though it also decreases over time because the people expand into it. Their nations start expanding into it. Yeah, I'm really liking recording this quick, so I'm just going to see how long this episode is. Because I hope it's not too long. Oh, it's only 26 minutes. Great. So I have like another couple minutes, like another like 10 so minutes. Anyway, yeah, these guys are working well. With them, with these two are actually are forced to work together to expand up here. Though the Mesopotamians and these guys hate each other, they begrudgingly do it because they say we need to expand to stop the other one from expanding into this territory because we know the other one will expand into this territory if we don't expand into this territory. Basically, it's just a confusing mess that happens, and these guys are both confused. Like, neither of them actually planned to expand their territory before this, but they're just convinced the other one wanted to do that. So, yeah, honestly, these two probably might join an alliance later down the line because they both hate each other. If anything, they're like North and South Korea, but in a Wixo. But in my Wixo, they're kind of like my equivalent to North and South Korea, East and West Mesopotamia. Though it's really Turkey and Mesopotamia because Mesopotamia is like these guys are Mesopotamia, really. You could just call them East Mesopotamia or Turkey, whatever you want to call them. And then over here, honestly, I hate these borders, but it's these borders right here, specifically the lime team, teal team, and blue team, especially the blue team. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody took them, but probably not because of military alliances. So if there's ever a major war down here, you know who's wants those territories. Red team. Yeah, this expansion has been happening a lot this episode. Though the mountains are like really here. That's where they expand to. Here. And now they can't expand no more because they're locked in. Here and these guys are really well they explore into the mountains a little and then they turn back because they can't really because they're just sending people to death at that point. And the Hig team says that too, so yeah. The Hig team leader in a speech says it would not be beneficial to send most of our people off to death. And these guys claim all this land, and this is a lot of land. especially for a new country to own all this. Honestly, I am liking how these waters look. The pink team, the dark pink team might, well, like the or like dark pink team, like that is more like a just factor in any future war if to who wins this front, the colonial front, because the pink team could just annihilate all three of these colonies. Though the red team's colony is pretty strong, because the red team, most of their industry is over here. And yes, I remembered that I said I was going to remove the red team's capital, but I don't think I need to because their like histories in the capital. Anyway, I'm just going to talk for a little. The red team somehow has achieved like this really good stability while being an expansionist power. How do you get such good stability and be expansionist? The thing is, well, if you haven't seen the stability map, well, I don't think I have shown the stability map in this episode, but the red team is just a dark green stability, the only country in the world to be able to pull that off, because all their instability was taken away from them. They just got it. The blue team was really a blessing in disguise because, as much as red team people hate to say it, a revolution was bound to break out sooner or later because the blue team kind of was always going to rebel because they are just like two different countries at heart. Yeah, so their rebellion was kind of like guaranteed thing. It's not like a changeable event. One thing that's really cool with this, anyway, anyway, back to this. So these guys are kind of like expanding out their empire. At this point, these guys are known simply as the Mesopotamian Empire, not just Mesopotamia, Mesopotamian Empire, as they're starting to expand out all the way over here. That's really good for the Mesopotamian Empire. Yeah. Okay. Now, the pink team. The pink team is going to be expanding out into the mountains to test equipment that they've been developing to see. I believe these are the mountains to see if they can, if people, if it works to get people to survive in the mountain. So soon these mountains might be able to be traveled, so that way they can get people to actually survive the journey, and they might be able to find other people, just like how the pig team was found by them, by these guys over here in the old world. They might be able to find what these guys call a new world. Kind of funny if you think about it. The new world is in our world, the new world is this. But for them, like a new world is like over here in China. And these guys expand out their borders because they need to expand. And North China actually does the same thing because North China doesn't like officially say it, but they kind of are scared of this South Chinese country because they have never had any other countries really border them before this. All these new countries popped up in China. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on, mate? What's going on? Yeah, they're seriously just left to what's going on, and now they realize all these new nations here are just a bunch of nations around them. Like a bunch of versions of like what they are. But the Chinese kind of realized this. They're not that scared of them, but they're still scared that there's other countries that could get rid of their North Chinese influence over the region of China. So North China kind of is worried about more Chinas. Like, they're not worried about this Korean country per se, because Korea is like the Chinese lapdog in this world. They're just like the lapdog for China. Oh, no. Korea is now an empire. The Korean Empire has officially formed. Just kidding. So the first major impact of the Korean Empire forming would probably be that it would seriously affect the Chinese influence and the South Chinese rivalry to that influence, because there is no influence, there's just Korea. There's no influence, it's just Korea. There's no influence in Korea, so why even bother with influence at this point? Honestly, North and South China are both scared of each other. I'm gonna call these guys Central China. Sorry, I just paused the video. Unpaused. I paused the video, and now it's time for some more exploration. Oh, I just revealed the new layer. Well, civilization's layer, and finally, we're going to be expanding South China down here to retaliate against the expansion of North China, as North China has been on the rise as of late. North China, though, has lost a little influence because of South China, though they still have the Koreans under their thumb. The Koreans are just basically like a puppet state of China. In this world, the Koreans are just like the Chinese lapdog, just like the lapdog they have. And South China isn't no lapdog. And South China, unlike in Adis Proswixo, is going to rebel against the idea of being the lapdog of the Chinese Empire. They explicitly say we are not a lapdog to them. Now I'm going to test which one is bigger. Okay, 54,000 and 47,000. Okay, so the North Chinese are still bigger. Oh wait, that's adding in Korea. So I think just doing Korea. Honestly, I think North China is smaller. I'd say North China might be smaller. But who knows? I mean, I don't. Oh. Okay, I just got rid of that dot in the middle of the Pacific. Anyway, I have the military alliances on for no reason. And now I have a new layer. Power rankings. I'm going to do a top 10 list. I don't know if I actually have 10 countries on this map, but I'm going to do however many we have. So the strongest country in the world is going to be the Mesopotamian Empire. Number 2 is going to be the Arabian Empire. Number 3 is going to go to the red team is going to be number 3. Now, a surprise country for the top 10 is going to be the number 4, being the state of India. They have risen fast in the past episodes. Number 5 is going to be North China, followed closely by number 6, South China. Number 7 is going to be not so surprising, but these guys are number 7. Now, the number 8 spot is going to go to these guys. Number 9 goes to these guys. And number 10 will actually be a tie, very close, with 10A, and in the blue team, with 10A being the purple team, who is famous for doing nothing. And then there's 10B, which is surprisingly the blue team. Yeah, so that's the top 10 strongest nations in the world list. Wait, I think I wrote this on the wrong layer. Yep. I'm going to undo the top 10 rankings and redo them on the power rankings layer. Shocker. Okay, so number 1, Mesopotamia. Yes. Number 2, the Arabian Empire. Number 3 is going to be not a shocker, the red team. Number 4, India. Number 5, again. Well, I already did this list, so just a quick redoing of the list. So and then 7, 8, 9, 10A, and also 10B. So that's the top 10 strongest. And I think I'm going to expand it out of the top 10 since we have such little countries. So number 11 is actually going to be not too much of a surprise. Korea is going to be 11th place. 12th place is going to be this rebellion that happened out here, which I'm going to have to lower the font size for them because they're so small, which they're going to be 12th. And now 13th is going to go to Cyprus. I'm going to increase the font for Cyprus. 13th, Cyprus. And that's the power rankings of every single country in the world, from strongest to least. And with that, that was the final thing I'm going to do in today's video. that's going to be the end of this video. We've gotten a lot of expansion done in the east. There's these guys explored over here. There's not really that much more besides this and like proxy expansion over here that could have resulted in a war. Then there's these guys as expansions. The success of the rebellion from the Lime team, the creation of the Star and Square military alliances. That's an important thing that is going to happen that happened this episode. And one of the things that didn't affect the world is I just did power rankings for every country in the world, which is pretty big because now you know, oh hey, this country is stronger than that one. So if the red team and the pink team were to go to war per se, it would be a win for the red team. Though it might not be, but honestly, the pink team and the red team could be are like almost interchangeable because they're both super strong. So these two interchangeable. And if I had to change my rankings a little, I'd probably make the red team number 3 and make the red team number 4 and the pink team number 3. But that's the only tweaks I'd do to this rankings. Anyway, that's the end of today's video. I just did a recap. And of course, I forgot the most big event ever. Honestly, the purple team, I'm giving them too much stuff, too much for doing nothing. Cyprus is the real king of nothingness. They've done nothing since episode 1. They haven't done anything. Not even a single expansion. Even the purple team has expanded. And they still are expanding. I'm just going to give them some more territory real quick to show that they did another thing this episode. That's one more than Cyprus did. Honestly, Cyprus is the country that just does nothing in my series. They're just like Switzerland. They just are neutral in everything. They just aren't doing anything at all. You're either doing nothing or too stupid to do anything at all. Yep, and real quick, I'm just doing this real quick. The Lime team also expands because they're the Lime team, of course. The Lime team expands because they're just the Lime team. They're just him. They've just got that expansion mindset they have. You know, and anyway, that's a wrap for today's video. It's 48 minutes long. Jeez. Anyway, goodbye, everyone.